Hey guys, what's up? If you're worried about running in the heat this year, you need to check this video out.
Ryan,
let's get stuck in. Hey, what's up everyone? If this is your first time visiting Fordy Runs, make sure you hit that subscribe button down there for me, and that way you'll stay up to date with all the latest running videos we've got coming out on the channel. We've got more running vlogs, tips and hints like this, all the different series we're doing, all cool stuff, all running related. So hit that subscribe button and stay up to date. Also get up to Facebook and join the Fordy Runs running community. We've got a little group going on there, so click that join the group button on Facebook, Fordy Runs, and get involved in the running community now on Facebook. As I said, this is a video all about running in the heat. Obviously we're now getting into summer, so I thought it'd be cool to do a quick video on how to deal with running in the heat. So let's get stuck in. Hey guys, so my first real big tip for you with running in the heat, and it's probably one of the most important, is if it is so hot that you're worried about your safety or you're concerned about anything to do with the heat, whether you're going to finish, you're going to overheat or anything, just don't do it. Sounds a silly one to start with, but really you've got to be careful. If you've got any worry, you're anxious or you're concerned about the heat, that it's that hot that it's going to affect you to a degree where you're going to become unwell and you're going to need possibly medical attention, or you're not feeling 100% because maybe, I don't know, the other week you had the flu or a cold and you're not feeling 100%. Don't put yourself through it, don't risk it, it ain't worth it. There's going to be another race, there'll be another event. So as I said, take some advice and just don't do it. It's not worth it. There'll be plenty of other opportunities to run, probably won't be as hot, so don't put yourself at risk. That's my top tip number one. Tip number two is don't wear a hat. Now obviously you always hear to wear a hat in the sun, right? To keep the sun off your head, but when you're running, actually what you don't want to do is wear a hat, you want to wear a visor. Wearing a hat keeps the heat in, and it can actually bring your temperature up quicker and make you overheat quicker. So by trapping in that heat in your head, it ain't going to do you any good. So get yourself a visor. I'm lucky enough I'm part of the visor club and I have a beautiful race check one, but get yourself a visor. That will keep the shade on your face. It will give you an element of cooling to a degree, but it will just keep that top open and it will allow that heat to escape. Yeah, okay, you're going to get a bit hot, but we're all going to get hot anyway. So, but don't wear a hat. It's probably one of the big no-nos actually, because as I say, it's just trapping that heat. It's just going to bring your body temperature up and then everything's going to go south. So top tip number two, don't wear a hat, wear a visor. Tip number three, don't pour that water on your head, pour it on your neck. Firstly, if you're wearing earphones or any electrical device, whatever you do, don't pour it on your head. Don't run through the showers, or don't, if people have got hoses out, don't run through them if you've got earphones on. Big no-no. I don't actually like pouring water over my head, period. I think it can be dangerous. Get the water and pour it on the back of your neck. That's the best way to cool you down quickest. The other tip as well is to pour it on your wrists and on your hands. Now I was doing that throughout the London Marathon. When it was hot, I was taking, and this is why they ran out of water I think, not because of me, but I think everyone was doing it. But I was taking 2 bottles, I was drinking one, and whatever I had left, I was then pouring on the back of my neck, on my wrists, and then on my hands. And that was a good way of, I mean I was still hot, but it was regulating my heat. And it was, I mean your wrist is a classic example of the quickest way to cool your body down, and the back of your neck as well. So I say get some fluid, get some cold, hopefully fluid on the back of your neck. Just try and bring that temperature down, back to your neck, on your wrists, and always on your hands. Just keep them hands as fresh as you can. And then obviously you can run it through your hair, whatever you want to do to keep you cool. But yeah, that's another tip. Tip number three, put on the back of your neck, wrists and hands. Tip number four, so you need to be hydrated. It's a simple thing, I know it's obvious that you need to be hydrated, right? But in the week leading up to your race and in the days right before it, make sure you're drinking more than you probably normally would. Make sure you're really topping up with water and hydration. Make sure your wee's clear obviously, and just make sure you're really hydrated before you get to that start line. The worst thing you could do is get to the start line and not be hydrated, because then you're going to have a problem further in the race, because you're always going to be chasing it all the way through the race. So get to that race hydrated. Make sure that you have a decent amount of water leading up to it. Even in the morning of the race, make sure you have a decent amount of water. but then, you know, steady it right down like an hour before. I'm literally just sipping, and half hour before I stop, because I know I'm already hydrated from what I've done previously. And then during the race, and this is key, make sure you're drinking to thirst during the race. Don't over drink. You can actually overhydrate during the race, and that's dangerous as well. So you want to be drinking to thirst during the race. You don't want to get dehydrated, but at the same time you don't want to go nuts. So just drink to thirst, you know, get your water bottle, sip it as you're going around, something maybe with electrolytes in it, which is great, whether it's Lucas Tate's water, whatever they're giving out. But make sure you're drinking to thirst through the race. But the key really, as I say, be hydrated before you start the race. That's the top tip for me. That's number 4. Let's get stuck into number 5. Tip number 5 is a real simple one, but dress light. You won't believe it, as you all saw what the London Marathon was like in 2018. There was people on the start line, despite being told it was going to be the warmest one, in cotton t-shirts, black t-shirts, just inappropriately dressed. I mean, forget the fancy dress guys, because they're just crazy and they raise a lot of money, so good luck to them. But you've got to turn up in, you know, the technical tops, you know, the light ones, you know, that wick away the sweat. They aren't expensive. You can go to Sports Direct, get them for a couple of quid. Make sure you're wearing light colours and light clothing, you know, shorts that, if you can, you know, they're a bit like, let's say instead of being 5 inches, maybe wear a 4-inch short for blokes. I don't know what you ladies do, but again, just try and bear in mind what the conditions are going to be like, and try and dress appropriately. Light clothes, light colours. Don't wear your hats, wear your visors. If you're going to wear sunglasses, which I do, I mean, I recommend, because again, stops you squinting and stuff, just make sure they're ones, they're nice and light and the air can get through them and stuff like that. Again, you don't want to overheat, but check your socks, make sure they're nice and lightweight and they're going to whip away sweat, and your shoes aren't too heavy. You don't want to be running in excessively heavy shoes either. Again, I've seen people doing that. London Marathon was a classic example. There were people running in what looked like very heavy shoes. I don't know why they were doing that. So, get yourself dressed appropriately, look at the forecast, make sure you're on top of that, wear a vest or whatever, but I say dress light and dress smart. Tip number 6, which is probably more than I wanted to do, but tip number 6, sunscreen. Make sure you get your sunscreen on the morning of the race. When you get up, just before you get dressed, wallop all that suntan lotion on, get your spray ones, get whatever one you do, make sure it's waterproof or sport proof, and it's at least SPF 15, and just cover yourself in the stuff. I mean, we all want to look green, we all want to get a decent tan, but the most important thing is to be safe and make sure you're going to finish that race and you're not going to like get mullered by the sun. So get up, get that suntan lotion, give it plenty of time to soak into your body, you know, really layer it on, and make sure you're protected from the elements, because it's just stupid to go out there and get burnt, and you'll get yourself in a right old state. So sunscreen, get it on in the morning. That's tip number 6. Tip number 7, and I think I'm going to do this one and another one. So tip number 7 is lower your expectations. When it's a hot day, and I know this, as I said, from the London Marathon in particular, and I've had this on other days, like when I've done a 10k and it was blinding hot. You've got to lower your expectations on your timing. Just to give you a clue, I reckon the London Marathon I ran at about, let's say 40 minutes, maybe 45 minutes slower than I probably normally would. It's over a longer period of time, so it exaggerates it, but it was all about finishing. I did a 10k as well a couple of years ago. It was the same sort of thing, it was like 25 degrees, and I think I ran it 5-6 minutes slower than what I was aiming for. You have to manage your pace. You've got to lower your expectations. It's going to be hot, it's going to be hard. There's going to be people also, you know, in the same situation as you. There's going to be a lot of body heat around. The tarmac's going to be hot. The heat's just going to go up all around you, and it's going to be hard work. I mean, I ran out the other night and it killed me. It was only like 23, 24 degrees. It was a lot harder than a couple of days before, where it was a bit cooler. The heat really makes a difference. I don't think you can really estimate what that heat makes an impact on your running. So make sure you lower your expectations. If they're saying it's going to be blinding hot, just go out there, have a laugh, have some fun. Make sure you get a suntan lotion on, make sure you get your hydration, and just enjoy yourself, enjoy the crowd, run with some nice people, but just lower the expectations down if it's going to be blinding hot. Okay, my last tip for you, and I've got no idea what number we're on, I've done way too many, but my last tip for you, and this is a tip that I really want you to think about and really do maybe a bit of research, and also put some comments below if you've got any other advice as well about this one. but make sure you know the signs of overheating. I saw people at the London Marathon and I could tell that they were getting in a bad way. Classic signs of overheating is obviously, you know, feeling dizzy, feeling sick, lightheaded, bit of cramping, nausea, you like I say, feeling sick, and just the body functions start slowing down. We all know what that kind of horrible feeling is, unfortunately. And if you're feeling any way like that at all, and you're running a hot race, firstly slow down, secondly get yourself some fluid, and thirdly get some shade. And if it doesn't pass, get yourself some medical assistance. Speak to a marshal, or speak to even a person in the crowd and just tell them you're feeling unwell. But make sure that you stop whatever you're doing. If you're getting any of those signs of overheating, just stop. It ain't worth it. I mean, don't worry about the time. It doesn't matter. Just get yourself into a situation where you're cooling down. Say, find that shade, get some fluid, slow down, stop running, whatever. Tell somebody that you're feeling unwell and just get it addressed. And it's the same. Look for other runners that may be in a similar sort of situation. We all saw the wonderful thing we're having in London Marathon 2017, where the guy, you know, you might have seen them on my channel, where the two guys, they helped each other across the line because one was feeling unwell. But look around you, you know, if you're seeing people who are walking or struggling or whatever, you know, just check as you're running past, you're all right, you know, just ask them. Well, if they look a bit funny, just say, you're feeling all right. Just be aware of what's going on around you, maybe just shout out to a marshal up ahead that there was a guy back there who was feeling a bit unwell. Anything like that, but just be aware, say, of the signs of overheating and what they look like, what they feel like, and just so you can manage it for yourself and manage it for other runners as well. So I think it's a really important one. It's a good one to finish on, but just bear it in mind. And as I say, be safe out there. Like I said in my first point, if it's too hot, don't bother. Just go home, sit in the garden and have something to eat. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth trying to be a hero. But that's it from me. I will probably catch you next week. If you like the video, make sure you give this the thumbs up. Check out the description. There's loads of links and stuff in there to all the social stuff and other bits and bobs. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for me, and make sure you check this video out, which is pretty cool. But that's it from me. As I say, I'll catch you next week.